Perfectionism was like the big one. Perfectionism that was just kind of destroying a lot for me, just from career, school, relationships, just kind of like everywhere. And then kind of just being nice, giving too much, and not really having much for myself. And so, like, just those two things just kind of swirling around and swirling around. And then I read a few books, and then I stumbled on Not Nice on Amazon because it like popped up after I read a few books. And that's how I originally got exposed to Dr. Aziz. You feel the pull, but then it's like, that's a lot of money. Uh, and I was kind of going back and forth. I'd actually talked to Aziz like maybe 2 years before that when I read Not Nice about doing like something like that. And I was like, whoa, no, definitely not. That's way too much. And then I made it to the event, and I had some pretty significant, moments during that event. And I was still kind of on the fence. And I think I had a quick session, like a laser session with Dr. Aziz, and I just was like, I really want to just figure out how I can give more without like losing myself in the process. And he said, that's okay. I don't think you really need to give more. I think you need to be able to receive more. He was like, oh, I was just talking to Candace about that at lunch. And I was like, okay. So they've been talking about me. Obviously they really care, and they want the best for me. And so I was like, okay, all right. That was pretty profound. And I just said, you know what? I'll just do it. It just kind of was just a leap of faith to say yes, and I did. Definitely one of the best decisions I've made, for sure. Just even the act of just like kind of that's a lot of money, and just putting that out there in a way that I'm putting this into myself. It's different from like school or like any other kind of a purchase, but it's really about like growth and just putting that out there, saying, no, I'm kind of betting on yourself. And betting on myself, which is a mind shift in terms of just like confidence and like saying like, no, I got to grow, and I'm really gonna put that into it. So I think that was a pretty big shift for sure. A big thing is just being comfortable with like saying I don't know, for example. Working on the notion of like being enough has been big, and especially at work, just being able to say, yeah, hey, I don't know, or I'll figure that out, or I'll get back to you. Like I think before I would be very much always trying to, come up with something, and that resulted in a lot of anxiety and a lot of, just not fun feelings, and also just knowing that I don't have to do it all by myself, and just asking for help more, and just like having a group. Obviously, that's great, but I think knowing that, I don't know, I've been much more willing to reach out and ask for help, and that's been transformative at work for sure. And just speaking up more, like in meetings. I still have a way to go, but I know that I've been much more clear with, what I want and what I think is good for the team. And I've been getting like, oh yeah, I think we should go that way, or I think that's a good idea, and that's felt good. So not leaving those meetings with that sense of like, I didn't say anything, or I didn't say anything. So I'm that much more likely to, put myself out there. I'd say definitely the calls. The calls. It's a place every week, that you can go to be in a place with other people that are going through very similar things. It's really nice to have a regular reminder of how universal some of the problems that we all face are, and then also, while you have obviously the feedback from the group, but the feedback from Dr. Aziz and working with like him directly, just when he goes into a deep dive with a person or even me, like I think he would always say one person's coaching is everyone's coaching, and that's always powerful. So I think I always leave those calls with like just a really good feeling, and it just helps me kind of get into like, get myself into the next day and keeping myself accountable. I think it's and just staying on the path of growth. Like there's always like highs and lows and everything, but also just like knowing that there's this group that's moving forward, and I'm moving forward with them. That's just generally like powerful. So I think the calls are definitely my favorite part. Do it. Just do it. Yeah, just do it. Easily do it. I was even being here today at the second event. Coming back has been great, and coming back with a kind of a being in the mastermind and having that mindset. Like obviously appreciating everything more, but I remember seeing myself, like when I was about to make that decision, and I'm like, yeah, definitely do it because it's definitely been worth it, and especially in what I've broken through in this event as well, and the things I'm excited to go off and do when I get back home.